Howdy folks, I'm Naughty Northern Oak Hairstreak, neatly nabbing nifty necklaces.
I'm off camera Amber.
And here are more nifty necklaces for us to nab, because that's what we do as butterflies, we steal things. And Amber's just not feeling up to being on camera today.
Yes, more allergies.
Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Expecting My Neighbors to Share the Outdoors with My Family? For the past week, we have been having beautiful weather outside, and my family and I have wanted to eat our dinner outdoors and enjoy the cool evening air. We often enjoy doing this in the spring and fall, but it's usually much too hot in the summertime. So we really want to take advantage of this rare nice weather while it lasts. Our new neighbors next door, though, have had other ideas. They moved in earlier this year, and I find them rather hard to connect with. Our houses are very close to one another, so we can hear pretty much everything they say while eating dinner out on their deck. And they have insisted on eating outdoors every night this week. Well, my husband works kind of late. He usually finishes around 5:30 p.m. and then he has to sit in traffic, so he's rarely home before 6:30. But our neighbors routinely begin their meals just as my husband is getting off of work. Well, what's worse is that they stay outdoors carrying on with their loud conversations for 2 hours. I know because I have timed it, and my husband would be far too famished to begin eating his dinner at 7:30 p.m. Well, after having this happen Monday through Wednesday of this week, I had enough. On Thursday morning, I knocked on their door and told the mother, we'll call her Christina, that I noticed that her family enjoyed eating dinners outdoors. And I reminded her that we enjoy this too, and I told her that I didn't think that it was fair for them to take advantage of their earlier work schedules to supersede us and force us to eat indoors. Christina got a puzzled look on her face, and she suggested that we could both eat outdoors simultaneously, but this was clearly ridiculous. The entire point of outdoor eating is peace and serenity, not shouting at my family members from across the table. It wasn't like I produced no alternatives. I suggested that we simply take turns, like any kindergartner learns, or that she could take her family to a local park with picnic tables. But she just laughed at my idea, which I found incredibly demeaning. They ate outdoors last night too, which made me think that they don't have any respect for me, and that my message went in one ear and out the other. I find it incredibly depressing that Christina and her family feel this entitled. Well, when I called my parents and asked them for support, my own mother said that I had no right to ask them to stay inside during certain times of the week. And my father said that I should apologize. Sometimes it seems like I'm the only one with my head screwed on straight. And I feel like nobody understands my point of view. If my own parents can't see my perspective, then who can? I really want someone to validate me because I feel like everyone around me is just brushing me off. What do you all think? Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? I think for one, agree with her.
Yeah, no.
The outdoors is a very small place, and I would hate to be around anyone within, like, a mile.
If OP came here for validation, this is the wrong place because I'm not going to validate OP. Talk about entitlement. OP, your neighbors have a right to use their own yard for their own dinner. Like, you can't expect them to just not eat because you want, like, if you want a meal with peace and quiet, you can rent places that are quiet. There might even be public spots that are relatively quiet at that time of day. Like, you and your family could go to a picnic in the park, but it probably will be other people there. There will be noise. Like, you're expecting an unreasonable level of noise control. Like, it is understandable if you don't want to have, like, really loud noises interrupting you and whatnot, but normal family conversation is kind of like normal neighborly noise you just kind of deal with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand them wanting to enjoy peace and quiet, right? And I mean, certainly, like, if this really bothers them this much, I think that it's fine for them to talk to the neighbor and say, hey, do you mind if we kind of, like, take turns or something like that? Clearly, this isn't something that the neighbor is interested in, and that's really what it boils down to.
Well, that's
right?
the thing. It's one thing to ask. It's another thing to demand and expect.
You can ask anything you want, right? Sometimes you're not going to get an answer that you like, though, and that's really what it boils down to. Now, as for whether or not OP should share the outdoors with her neighbor, I mean, does it really bother you? Which is worse? eating indoors or sitting outside for a little while and, having to listen to your neighbors a little bit. What do you do when you go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that's a good point. Like, if you're having a dinner in a restaurant, there are oftentimes other people talking, and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, and if it really bothers you that much, get a fence, right? Install a fence, and then that way you don't have to hear them as much. I don't know. I just think that OP is, I think, probably used to having things a certain way, and now that things aren't that way anymore, they're distressed for one reason or another, and that's understandable. Sometimes change is hard to adapt to, but they need to understand that this is a space that anyone can use, and they aren't entitled to it. If they really want to have that type of environment where they are, by themselves, then buy a different house with no neighbors.
Yeah,
right?
well, there are places, and relatively cheap places, that are out in the middle of nowhere where your nearest neighbor is miles down the road.
But probably that may be a much longer drive for the
Comes with
husband.
a lot of disadvantages.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Moving My Neighbor's Bike Out of My Doorway? I live in a small apartment building with 4 units. Well, last week, my upstairs neighbor started storing their bike in the hallway right in front of my door. It's blocking my way, and I've already tripped over it twice. I asked them to politely move it, and they just said that it's temporary, but it's still there a week later. I moved it against the wall so that I could pass, and now they're mad at me for touching their property. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
It was blocking your door. Like, you need to be able to get into and out of, like, that's not even legally allowed to have something blocking someone's door like that. So no, you're definitely not in the wrong. And reporting them, like, take a picture of the bike at your door and report them, and like, it will be dealt with.
Yeah, I think that this could be a fire hazard. I think that OP doesn't have to deal with this. And moving the bike is a lot different than taking a hatchet to it, or slashing the tires, or any number of things here, right?
Yeah, the bike didn't get damaged, it was just moved. And again, this person, they can't park in front of other people's doors. People need to be able to get into and out of their apartments.
Yeah. I mean, you have to share the hallway, right? Like, if that's what it boils down to. I mean, I understand that they want to have their bike there, but that means that they have to be willing to have somebody move the bike if it's in their way. Plain and simple. Like, they have to share with the people who are living there. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Fearless Ad 5702 says, I agree with everyone else who says put it in front of their door. And OP replies, yeah, many people said that, and I think that's the best move. It really is. Why is your door the one that they're blockading? And Fractal Frog says, not the jerk. Are you in the US? If so, call the fire marshal no matter where a bike is in the hallway. And OP replies, I will. And Friendly Brother 9660 says, sounds like it's abandoned. Might as well throw it in the dumpster. And OP replies, ha! And the Phil VV says, how in the entire world would you be the jerk? Not only are they causing you a daily inconvenience, they're also creating a fire hazard. The hallway is not a place for storing personal property. If they want to keep it in the building, they need to keep it in their own personal unit. And OP replies, that's exactly what I needed to hear, thanks. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for moving the Wi-Fi router into my room after my roommate kept unplugging it to quote-unquote detox from screens? So me, a 25-year-old female, and my roommate, a 29-year-old female, have been living together for about a year now. At first it was fine, but like the past couple of months, she has been on this whole screen detox thing. Which, whatever, if she doesn't want to use her phone, that's her business. Problem is that she keeps unplugging the Wi-Fi router in the living room. She says that it's bad to have the internet on all the time, and she sleeps better without it on. She kind of is a hippie, so this is like less of a mental health crisis and more like a crystal energy type of logic thing. She has sage bundles everywhere, which is fine, whatever, I can live with it, but this Wi-Fi thing is driving me up a wall. Well, the thing is that I work from home and I actually need the internet for my job. I told her a bunch of times that she can't just shut it off because I might be on a call or uploading stuff. She says that I can always just hotspot from my phone, but my phone plan is garbage, and also, why should I pay more when we both pay for Wi-Fi? Well, last week I had enough because she unplugged it again in the middle of a meeting since she went for a nap. So I waited until she went to work and I moved the router into my room and I installed a lock. She came home and freaked out, saying that I was being controlling and selfish and that I'm forcing her to have internet now. I told her that she can just not use it if she wants to detox. She said that it's not the same because the energy is still in the house and now she feels trapped. As a compromise, I even offered to buy her this thingy that she could hang up and block the Wi-Fi in her room, but she refuses because it's not the same. Honestly, I agree it's not the same, but both situations sound ridiculous to me. I just can't move out because we signed a lease together and she says that she's not leaving, so I'm stuck here for months. So now she's barely talking to me and telling our mutual friends that I'm toxic and I don't respect her lifestyle. I think that she's being ridiculous, but maybe I went too far. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. This is a tool you need to do your job. And like you said, she has the option to not indulge in the Wi-Fi. She can turn off her, just put her phone in airplane mode or whatever. But this is a tool that you need, and she can't be like turning it off, and so you can't do your job.
The thing that kind of boggles me here is that the same Wi-Fi waves that you use and get on your phone are the same ones that allow the internet on your phone to work on the wireless networks on the internet, the from your cell provider,
Yeah.
right? So
There are so many problems with her logic here. Like I'm not even touching the logic piece of it because it is so flawed. Because none of her claims about these waves have any basis in reality.
Well, and the thing is this. OP actually offered a compromise here. They said, hey, you can have this Faraday blanket that you can hang in your room that will block Wi-Fi. And Faraday blankets, if they're built correctly, will actually block Wi-Fi signals, right? Because they create essentially a mesh around your room, right? Where the waves can't pass through. I'm thinking that she just doesn't want the inconvenience of not having Wi-Fi when she wants to have it in her room, but doesn't want to have it exposed all the time, right?
Well, that's the thing. But this is one of those situations where you can believe whatever you want to believe, but when your beliefs start affecting other people, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
She cannot run the entire household based on her belief because OP does not subscribe to her belief system and is her own independent person and needs to be able to use Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, this is kind of Darvo-y, right? Because she says that OP is toxic and doesn't respect her lifestyle. Well, she's toxic and she doesn't respect OP's lifestyle.
Right, well, and that's, again, like she has all kinds of solutions that she could use to block the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
She is just choosing not to use them and trying to wholesalely control the entire apartment.
Yeah. So I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. I think that this roommate needs to buy a Faraday blanket if they really are this concerned about the Wi-Fi waves, and block out all the electromagnetic signals. Plain and simple. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And UTE Lawyer says, there is definitely someone in the story being controlling and forcing, but it isn't you. She's endangering your job because she lacks the self-control to just not use the Wi-Fi, not the jerk. Well, and also, like, how does she get around it on her phone? Like, does she have internet on her phone? I mean, like, a lot of people have data, right? And Extra Planet Janet says, it's not even a self-control thing. The roommate believes that invisible and intangible waves of Wi-Fi are harming her while she sleeps. She's delusional, and that's harder to deal with than just lazy or controlling. And No Cry 8418 says, not to mention, it doesn't do anything for exposure if you live in an apartment building. You're surrounded by other people's Wi-Fi. If we're going to be paranoid, at least do it correctly. Actually, the thing is that OP could actually download an app that shows you all the different Wi-Fi networks going on right now, and then show Janet, then show their roommate that, hey, look, there's all kinds of other Wi-Fi, connections in the house.
Well, you might not even have to download an app. Like if you just go to your available devices, you can just be like, oh yeah, look at all these other signals I'm getting.
Yeah, and just look, you're exposed to all of them all the time. Buy the Faraday blanket if it bothers you that much. And Long Experience 9377 says, put a ring of salt around it.
I like this.
And long experience 9377 says, but seriously, not the jerk. And you probably realize that you two aren't very compatible as roommates now. And Construction Gold 8583 says that energy that she's talking about is literally everywhere, all the time, constantly. If she wants an internet break, then she needs to go camping in the middle of nowhere, and even then you cannot escape it unless you have the ability to leave the planet. You pay for the internet too. If she doesn't like it, then she may want to look into living on her own. You pay, so you have a say. Everyone seems to want you to respect her lifestyle, but no one has any respect for yours? If they feel that way, they can live with her.
Well, that's it too. Like, it seems like she has all kinds of roommate possibilities now.
Yeah. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
How do ghouls unwind?
Well, I would imagine ghouls go to the bar where they're ghoul friends and they hang out.
By practicing self-scare.
Ah, I like it.
And it's Internet Self-Care Day, so actually very fitting for today that we had this little story.
Very fitting indeed.
But maybe just instead of trying to block the entire Wi-Fi from your house, just block the sites that are bad for your mental health.
Yeah, that might be a better approach. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday Junior, folks.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on Entitled Neighbors.
Your desire to have things in your space a certain way does not mean that you are entitled to make everyone else live by your rules.
Exactly. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.